Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 31 of Podcast Beyond. I am your host, Chris Roper, editor-in-chief of the IGN PlayStation team. With me, as always, is Greg Miller and Jeff Haynes. Couldn't remember your last name for a second.
Only worked here a little while.
I was with you for 2 years. I have no idea what my name is.
And then, of course, Ryan Clements. I remembered his name.
Yep, hi.
And then today we have a special guest with Eric Lindstrom, creative director over at Crystal Dynamics, here to talk to us today about Tomb Raider.
Hey, glad to be here.
Yeah. So we'll get back to that in a second, but time to kick off the show with some news with the Roper Report.
Time for some news.
So let's see what there's a fair bit of stuff announced this week. A couple games coming to the PSP that were PS2, PS3 franchises. Buzz is coming sometime this summer. So game show fans get
You're excited.
Oh. I'm just happy to be alive.
That is his final answer.
You know what, though? I want to see if the game's going to work that well without the giant red button and the, so we'll see how that goes. Flow apparently is also coming to the PSP. The Sony UK site got updated with details on the game, and then the ESRB even has a listing for it, although US Sony heads are saying, they don't comment on rumor or speculation, but it's not really rumor anymore because, Skype is out on the PSP. Shortly after it was announced, and then delayed in Japan, and then now it's all of a sudden out. So, their calendar is a little weird.
At least it's out.
I threw away my cell phone. It's all I use now.
Yeah, there you go. We had a slight update last week after on last week's podcast, we mentioned the whole thing about the 80 gig PS3 possibly being dead and revamped or whatever. And then on, I think it was Wednesday, we had a slight update where we got news from one of our readers who said that they had he worked at GameStop, and they had a management meeting or whatever, and they were saying that the system was being discontinued. So we called a couple other GameStops, and not all of them had heard this, but some of the other ones had been on some of these calls and did confirm to us that the system is being taken off the charts in one way or the other. Obviously, it's going to be redone. People are saying it's going to be like a 120 gig system or something, but so that looks more and more positive to happen. EA is predicting that the PS3 will actually outsell the 360 this year. Details of this are that of course, this is all speculation, and who knows what they're doing. I don't know if EA is better than any other analyst group, who are usually wrong, but they're saying that the 360 and the PS3 will probably tie in the U.S. as far as sales numbers. It's like 5.5 to 6 million or something, if I remember correctly. But that in Europe, it'll sell. The PS3 will sell 2-1 to the 360, and then give it that lead. Although they still think that the Wii will come in first place. Yeah.
What do you think, Rope? Is that gonna happen?
I don't think Nintendo can make enough. But we'll see. There's a couple games that will make or break all the systems involved here, including the Wii, and that's like Metal Gear and Grand Theft Auto and all those. And so, depending on how well those do, if everybody goes to play GTA and Metal Gear Solid and all these other games, then they're not going to look to the Wii as much. But I don't know. We'll see. CryEngine 2 will be shown at GDC for the 360 and PS3. Which may mean that we're going to see Crysis on the PS3, which would be pretty awesome because I can't run it on my computer.
That's how powerful the cell is.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. And then lastly, Sony has confirmed finally the official release date for Gran Turismo 5 Prologue in the U.S. You all right there?
Yeah.
You're still dying?
No, I'm good now, but I'm getting rid of the bad stuff. Like I'm back to normal now. I'm 100%.
Giving it to us.
Very good.
No, it's dead. You can't give dead germs.
But Prologue is coming on April 17th for the nice price of $39.99. That's both in-store Blu-ray disc and download.
Nice way to spend your tax refund.
Yeah, there you go.
2 days after.
So
You gonna get Blu-ray? Or you gonna download?
I'm gonna get Blu-ray. It comes with the some sort of extended cinematic or something. So I'm gonna get that. Whatever.
All right.
Might as well have the disc. Yeah. So we'll see. Let's see what's next. What games are coming out this week, Greg?
Wait, we have to. Well, don't you actually read it and then
you have
do
to
the
say the
song?
title.
I thought you give the.
Oh,
intro
you want me to
song.
actually do the
Yeah, well, you were all
and
crybaby 2 weeks ago because we didn't do the intro song.
Well, now introducing the official IGN list of upcoming PlayStation software on all 3 PlayStation platforms by the IGN editors. See, it seems weird that I'm doing the title and the song.
I liked it. Anyways, Ryan, thank you. It is a bumper crop week. On PS3, we have Devil May Cry 4. Yes. If you didn't go to select EBs and Best Buys, Turok is coming out this week. PS2 shows up with Karaoke Revolution presents American Idol, Nobunga's Ambition, Rise to Power, The Spiderwick Chronicles, Twisted Metal, Head On, Extreme Twisted Edition, and the PSP has Downstream Panic. Extra Twisted Edition.
Twisted.
Man, there
It's
was
their
one-
own fault for having that long of a
Yeah,
title.
no,
there was
absolutely.
like one game last week, and now we have like 12.
It's big time.
It's pretty good.
Yep. Huge.
The
Yeah,
drought is over.
I think we might as well just roll into pick the week since
Pick of the week.
I don't know. There's a couple
tough
pretty good
one,
games
huh?
in there. Yeah,
Tough one.
Pretty good ones. I mean, Twisted Metal we reviewed positively.
Yes.
The game's a lot of fun with a lot of stuff in there.
We haven't
Downstream. I'm playing Downstream Panic right now for review probably tomorrow, and
How you
that
like
game's it's pretty fun so
I like it
far.
a
It's
lot.
really hard. I think DMC4 has got to be our
This
easy pick.
party's getting crazy.
Yeah.
Jeff, you just put up your DMC4.
Yeah, midnight.
How'd it go?
8-7.
8-7 on
8-7.
both systems.
8-7
both.
to your review. So would you? Yeah, never mind.
No, it's a great game. I mean, it's a lot of fun. People that expect everything from the series within that game aren't going to be disappointed. The only thing that they may sometimes question would be the amount of time Nero has to Dante. But I mean, the game still has all the action, every bit of the trademarks that everybody expects from the series.
I see.
But it
Does he
doesn't,
still have a gun?
There are multiple guns.
doesn't
Okay.
have the pizza eating at the beginning of Devil May Cry 3, though, which I was really disappointed in.
That comes in the middle of the game, Ryan, and you haven't gotten there yet.
Oh,
Alright.
burn. You don't know
Maybe I
anything about
You've just been
games.
DM'd.
You sick of me.
Whatever.
You know, I think it's time for.
I believe so.
Time for topic of the week.
Topic of the week.
Toe.
So as you can guesstimate, our topic of the week is obviously Tomb Raider.
God, I hope so.
Yeah. So we got Eric here talking about the game. Greg, sorry, Jeff, you saw the game recently. Why don't you kick off the Q&A here?
No idea who I am.
sheet of names?
Yeah. Dude, it's Monday and Super Bowl was yesterday and blah.
Wow. Well, Eric, I know that during one of the demos that you showed, you mentioned 3 of the innovations that the team has basically been working on within the game. Lara Against the world affecting Lara, and basically anything that gamers can imagine Lara being able to do, she can do in this. Can you tell us a little bit more about how your team came about those 3 innovations for Tomb Raider Underworld?
Yeah, but only if you feed them one at a time.
Part of it was Lara Against the world affecting her.
Yeah.
and
Lara Against the
everything
World
else.
is code for a larger set of concepts that are really about how the game is a much bigger integrated set of challenges that all come together and feed on each other. So it's not like you're going up against a series of local challenges one after another in a long linear string. It's more that you're going up against combat and puzzles and environmental challenges and large-scale problems that you have to solve by understanding different places, different pieces, getting them operating again, maybe turning on giant mechanisms that require multiple steps and getting this thing going the way it was originally intended, or by hijacking its purpose for whatever Lara needs to do. So that Lara Against the World is a kind of large-scale integrated challenge that these spaces represent.
And some of the other parts, like the world affecting Lara, or players being able to expect her to do whatever they think she can do. Can you go into some of those details?
Yeah, the affecting Lara and vice versa is about how we wanted the player to be able to do a lot that they would expect to do in this world and have it be represented in a lot of different ways. So you can knock over stuff, kill stuff. It all lays on the ground. It all stays persistent. It's all our physics engine, so we can keep all these things in world and in play. And she rolls around the mud. She gets muddy. In the demo you saw, it was raining, so it washed her off again. It's really about the player being able to scar the world and having that stay intact, and vice versa. That she'll take the mud as well. The third point of giving the player the ability to do whatever they think they ought to be able to do is something we call what could Lara do? And it's a design philosophy that we were wanting to understand how we could take all of these next-gen powers that we now had and focus them into something that was a concentrated but quintessential Lara experience. So what we did was we looked at what she could do and what the players would be able to do in one side of the world, they ought to be able to do everywhere else. So by making mechanics consistent, we filled all the holes. So now when the players, if I can throw a grenade, well, I'm carrying this object, can I throw that? Yeah, you can. I can balance walk on top of this beam. Well, can I balance walk on the poles that I swing around? Yeah, you can. So in bringing all of these different concepts together, we not only filled the holes and made it possible for the mechanics to translate from one situation to another, but we made the game more intuitive so that you don't have to pre-filter with a whole lot of game knowledge and memorization of what you can and can't do where.
And part of that actually shows up within some of the moves that she demonstrates in the environment, like climbing on walls or outcroppings, or some of the other new moves that she has. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of those?
Yep, she can free climb, and that was one of the first what could Lara do that we came up with. Someone of that athletic ability and that kind of fearlessness, she should be able to free climb up on wall surfaces if she's got finger holds. The ability to balance walk on a beam came very close second. The pole, she can swing around on this stuff. She should be able to perch on top like an owl and jump up to a higher point. She can wall kick now, so she can chain wall kicks up to do chimney jumps. We did a lot of those in the movement set, but we also extended that into combat and puzzles as well. When you have a free hand, she can pull the gun and fire. So when she's hanging from a ledge or a pole, she can free up one hand and still not fall. So you can track and shoot targets while you're doing that.
Speaking of combat, one of the other things that we saw in the demo was kind of the new dynamic threat AI that enemies seem to show off. Can you talk a little bit more about like kind of how that's going to be really, really key within the game, like the threat systems?
Well, from the enemy point of view, they have the ability to get into Lara's face much faster, much more aggressively. And that puts her on her toes and on the defensive of trying to be able to manage all these multiple targets coming in. And they also have the ability to jump up and down off of geometry, stairs, platforms, and whatnot. So there's no ability to climb up and shoot fish in a barrel anymore. You have to actively move through the space and understand what you can do to be able to execute on that combat.
Now, one of the other things is that like the game seems to have really, really unique exploratory elements, partially because of the complex material system. One of the things that I seem to recall was breaking through part of a ceiling and having the ledge that remained become slick because of the rain that was in the environment.
That was one of those found mechanics that when we were dealing with those material systems, it came online so lush so early that the first thought we had was, look at that should be slippery. So we went in and put it in the system. Now it's slippery. You lose your grip, have to regain again.
And one of the other things was that Lara actually has a lot more flexibility within the environment. She's not necessarily stuck to one path, right?
Yeah, that was part of the exploration extension that we did, where not only could you do what you thought you ought to be able to do, but go where you think you ought to be able to go. And that means that you have multiple challenges in a space. You do the one that makes the most sense to you, is the easiest, is the most interesting, and cumulatively all of those challenges add up to some larger thing, these large-scale challenges. But you have a lot of flexibility about how you go about doing that.
Coming out to a bigger overview of the title, there have been so many Tomb Raider games that when you sat down to begin work on this game, you said, okay, we're going to make another Lara Croft game. What are we going to do this time, and how are we going to sort of try to maybe approach things differently so that gamers who maybe have played, first couple games and sort of got burnt out on the series, maybe somebody hasn't ever played it, or longtime fans that have been playing it the whole time that still want to see something new. Where do you sort of, when you started, where did you say, okay, we need to go in this direction to make all these things new and seem appealing again?
So the essence of Tomb Raider has always been exploration and freedom, and to find this great old space and to explore it. In Tomb Raider Legend, when Crystal Dynamics took the franchise in, we made a blockbuster experience that was very orchestrated and very linear. And what we wanted to do was take the best of both worlds. We wanted to bring back a lot more of that exploration, that freedom, that ability to find a space and just do what makes sense in that space and solve challenges as they came up. But we also didn't want to lose that sense of orchestration, that sense of strong narrative thread that pushes you through from the beginning to the middle to the end. So what we're doing is we're combining those things by bringing in those experiences into these large-scale spaces, but then kind of turning the player loose to meet them as they want.
And one of the other things that that you managed to do was basically highlight what Lara looks like, basically taking advantage of all the current gen hardware. This easily is the best looking Lara to date and has probably the most animation that you've ever seen within a Tomb Raider game, right?
Absolutely. We're working really hard on our characters because the next generation shader system, among a dozen other textures that she's got on her layers, makes her one of the technological marvels of the whole game. All of our characters, actually. So she has the ability to have... Well, let me back up. One of the questions I'm often asked now is, how many polys does she have now? And I usually don't even answer that question because I turn it around. How many polys does it look like she has? Does she look like she has polys at all? Because now that we've got these complex material systems, polygon boundaries are hidden by all kinds of different techniques that have rendered polygons kind of secondary.
Cool.
I got nothing. You guys got something to chime in on?
Yeah, well, first of all, I was just going to say, you said that the world is consistent. So does that mean that, like, after a huge fight and you've dispatched a bunch of guys, or I'm assuming Lara's going to be getting into a lot of gunplay and whatnot, you're just saying that, like, all the bodies and stuff, you're not going to see any of that fading out or anything like that? It's going to all stay there?
Nothing disappears anymore.
That's really cool. That always bothered me when, like, you just took somebody out and you're like, oh, finally, and then they're like, whew, and then disappear, and you're like, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I can't see my hard work.
Not only do we want to reward players by showing them the results of their efforts, but these are navigational aids. I mean, you want to know the hallway that the body's in. You want to know which side of the calendar you've been messing with, and all those persistent bodies and broken pieces of rubble. They're important clues.
That actually brings up a pretty good point, which is basically the size of the levels. How large are these levels that Lara's going to explore in Underworld?
They are large, but large is a relative term. There's experience large, and then there's the how far can you walk in a single direction and not hit anything. We try and do a combination of both. There are some very large spaces where you walk into it and, oh my God, where do I go first? What can I do here? But it's also meant to be experientially large, that when you're trying to get these Mayan calendars, in the case of the demo that you saw, up and running, that each one of these pieces has a reward piece of it. You get this calendar working, opens up this big mechanical apparatus, and they build upon each other. So it's an epic experience that unfolds bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's part of the scale.
Could you actually talk a little bit about, like, since I'm actually somewhat unfamiliar with the game, what's like the overarching plot line and what kind of things are you going to be going about doing? Because we've talked a lot about the technical side, but...
Oh, yeah. Everybody outside of the building is unfamiliar with the plot line.
So we can't talk about it at all?
Absolutely. I wish we could. I'm really excited about it, but
no hints or anything?
I have a gag order on the story.
All right.
Basically, Lara returns.
I can give you some hints because we are...
without getting you in trouble. Without...
what's a little
causing
trouble?
A sniper team
what's
to acquisition us as we... Yeah.
Geez, what kind of game designer would I be if I couldn't handle a sniper team? So she is going to be going multiple places in the world. She's going to be globetrotting, and when she goes to those places, she's going to be delving into the local mythology of the underworld for that local people. Cool. And it's all tied together in the larger context of what she's doing that I can't talk about.
Okay.
But for people wondering whether or not she's going to be up to her old tricks of going all kinds of places and seeing different types of mythologies, absolutely.
Very cool.
Is there anything that you want to pass along to fans of the Tomb Raider franchise?
To the fans directly, what I'd like to say is...
play the game?
No, because we're talking to the fans. If I'm talking to everybody, yeah, buy and play the game. But to the fans directly, I wanted to say that I never post because I don't want to mess up the forums. But I go to the game forums. I read the posts. I read the posts about Crystal Dynamics. Please read this, and I keep up with that a lot because. There are trends in what the fans are asking for, and those trends are very meaningful. We can't give the fans everything they want because they're often fighting over one thing or another. The factions of Ponytail versus Braid are epic, truly epic. So
that's awesome.
Not only do I regularly look into that stuff, but also, even though I cannot talk about a lot of the fictional aspects of it, the fans ought to know that. We're still Crystal Dynamics. We're still the house that made Kane. We're still fully aware of everything that's happened in the franchise so far, and we're not going to forget any of that. And everyone's going to be satisfied.
Very cool.
Very good. Let's get into some reader mail then.
Reader mail.
Mail call.
Mail female.
Chain mail.
Word mail.
Mailman.
Eric, free to chime in whenever you feel like saying something to any
When
of these
I can
people.
beat without it.
Let's see, EB poll, Ed poll. whatever. Wants to know. He says, "Can you guys call Sony and ask them why the heck we aren't getting more PS1 games on the PlayStation Network? Japan store is flowing with them, and so far we only have like 10. Does Sony hate money or something? I can
We
tell
only
you
have,
for
like,
a fact
10.
Sony does not hate money. I'm pretty sure about that one.
Confirmed.
We actually
Yeah.
more have like 18 or 19 now,
Scoop.
not
Well,
10.
whatever it is.
I'm just saying.
All right.
It's not nearly as much.
No, it's not nearly. I mean, if you go to the Japanese update, they get games like every single week, and it's all kinds of stuff. Some stuff that you'd figure. I mean, a lot of it is Japanese specific releases, but there's also a lot of stuff you figure to come out over here. I honestly don't know why they're not releasing more.
I put that question to Jack Trenton, and his response was, more are coming.
Yeah, and part of it, especially just stealing some of Blognack's notes, is that there are moments when they don't even know themselves what exactly is going to be going up until the last minute. So, it's probably coming. It's just they have to do a lot more work just to get it over into the North American and European stores.
I think it's a well-proven fact that North America doesn't like games. And Japan does. And that's where it is. That's why they want to do it. We all just want to watch our Blu-ray movies and drive our Hummers.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And eat McDonald's.
That's shocking.
Yep.
I've never heard of that.
I would really rather prefer, though, that Sony spend more time getting original games on there than
Pixel
PS1.
Junk? Monsters?
Yeah, like Pixel Junk Monsters is awesome. I'd much rather see that once or twice a month, a game of that caliber, rather than see 5 new PS1 games every week.
If they would just put Metal Gear up, I'd be happy.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
Yeah,
5 new a week would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, but how many are you going to play though? There are a
A
couple
lot of
games
them.
that would be
Really?
very much worth, like
Yeah,
Metal Gear or something.
Absolutely.
Think about
There's a bunch that I just completely missed because
Didn't have the chance to get.
I was relatively young when the PlayStation was out, so I didn't really buy like a lot of stuff, so I missed out on a lot.
You were probably 10.
Yeah,
Close.
I know.
I was too busy in
Where,
grade school.
where I do think that Sony is missing a lot of opportunities is when you have the latest release of a franchise coming out, and you could put out the original. Like when Underworld's coming out, if you release the first Tomb Raider on the system, that'd be cool. You're like, oh, let me go back and play the original, and now I'll go, next week or whatever. You go out and you pick up Underworld. Like that would be an awesome tie-in, or release Metal Gear right before.
MGS4.
But yeah, but
They might not
they hate
because
money.
they're
We sense marketing.
They're allergic.
well, they might not release Metal Gear anytime soon because they're coming out with that Essential Collection.
yeah,
right?
see, so it makes sense in that case. But a lot of other cases, you're like, where is it? You might as well just stick it out there. It's not; those old games aren't making any money for them anymore, so they might as well, make a couple extra bucks. The Daedric Prince wants to know why does Sony keep making new PS3 models with bigger hard drives when you can just simply swap out your old hard drive for a bigger one? I think part of it is a lot of people don't know that you can do that.
And I think it's not as nearly as easy as the 360. The 360, there's one button you pop off and it's gone. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this is hard, but for your average consumer, the act of popping open the panel and pulling out a hard drive that looks just like a computer hard drive and stuff.
Well, the
Honestly, just look at the mothers that go in with their kids to like a GameStop or someplace, and they just know that there's a system there. I mean, they don't know about swapping out hard drives, and they're not going to waste the time to learn how to do it either.
Well, you also have that you go into a store and you see one system that has, say, 40 gigs in it, and then you see like the Xbox Elite has 120 or whatever it is, and then you say, okay, well, this one's more value for my money. So Sony's trying to recover on that. And then also, if you are going to replace the drive, you have to know what kind of hard drive you can purchase, and you have to go out and make that extra purchase. So you're like, well, you might as well just give me more in the box.
Yeah.
I mean, you can certainly. You have a lot more options if you do it yourself. You can put like a 300 gig drive in there or something, but Tyler says, anyway, Greg, which apparently is how he started his email.
No, he said
anyway, Greg.
he started it with, "Hey, Beyond." Blah, blah.
Okay. He says he's as huge a WWE fan as you are, and just wondering what your thoughts of John Cena shocking the world and returning to win the Royal Rumble were, because he knows he was shocked. It's amazing. And he's still hoping for a Triple H victory, but whatever. Are you going to be at WrestleMania 24? If he sees you, he will shout Beyond and throw up a bunch of signals.
I know this is only interesting to like 3 people on the podcast, so I'll keep it short. Make sure I do 60 seconds or less.
All right.
John Cena is a hack, just like The Rock was when he first showed up. He's all charisma, all flash. He doesn't know how to wrestle whatsoever. Shouldn't be popular. And now that he's back, the championship will be on him in a month, and it'll be there for the rest of his life. And it will suck, and wrestling will be as boring as ever. I will be at WrestleMania, and I will see you there.
That was pretty good. That was only 18
All right,
seconds.
good. No, not bad.
Very good.
Nice.
Anthem says, are we guys expecting anything big out of GDC this year? Well, Sony's not holding a keynote.
Wah, wah.
So,
Who knows?
I don't know. There should be some cool stuff.
There were a lot of parties.
Yeah, they're having parties and
Like
stuff.
3
but,
parties that week.
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be as big as last year. Last year we saw Little Big Planet, which I mean obviously looks totally awesome, and then Home, which I'm.
And SingStar.
Yeah, and SingStar, and I'm hoping. Well, they changed SingStar before that though. I think they did anyway.
I thought that was
many moons ago.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought that was their big coming out
But they
party
were
for
showing
it.
a lot more
Maybe.
details on it.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. I'm hoping that they take GDC, even if they don't show it at the show, to say, hey, here's some new details on Home, and hey, you can use the beta soon or whatever. Mr. Kanga says he's getting a PS3 this week, but I can really only afford the 40 gig system. What is bad about the 40 gig model? Nothing.
Limited backwards compatibility with
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right.
Or no backwards compatibility
Yeah, there is
with
no
PS2.
backwards compatibility, which
Confusing.
sucks if you want to play PS2 games.
less
And
USB
doesn't
ports,
there-
right?
yeah,
So if you
only
want
have
Rock
2
Band,
USB
But there's
ports?
but there's only 2 USB ports, which most of the time doesn't matter unless
Rock
you're,
Band?
unless you're playing Rock Band. Then you got to go buy a dongle or a USB hub,
Yeah.
which aren't that much. But other than that, and then you lose the memory card slots if you want to put in like an SD card or memory stick, or whatever, and get pictures. But it has Wi-Fi. Games are the same.
no.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a good deal. Asian Trav, here's my favorite question of the week. Says, will there be a funeral for Blognack so I can pee on the coffin?
Wow.
No, he's not worthy
So
of a funeral,
mature.
sorry.
Although there is a zombie Blognack somehow.
There
Blognack
is-
has risen and started blogging on it.
Yeah, there is,
It's kinda
there is a
scary.
zombie Blognack blog. Who, yeah.
Just can't keep a Blognack down.
Grayson here has a long one. Let me see if I can whittle this one down. But says he's had a 360 for a while, but he's going to trade it in and get a PS3. And his friends are telling him that he has no point to getting a PS3 unless he has an HD TV because the graphics are awful otherwise, which isn't necessarily true, but certainly not as good. However, he uses 360 on normal TVs, and games like Halo still look good. Should he go ahead and get a PS3 even though he does not have an HD TV? Or should I wait until I get an HD TV?
Actually,
That's sort of a chicken and the egg thing here.
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, Eric, what do you think about that one?
He can spend the money on the HDTV,
Yeah. I
There you
mean,
go.
then go from there.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, if I was in his shoes, what I would do is I would keep the 360 for now and pick up the HD TV and then enjoy the 360 with HD, because then you'll have gaming immediately, and then save up and do whatever you need to do to go get the PS3 later. Because
what
right
you
now. Yeah, well, I wanted to expand on your point. Yeah, because right now, if you just trade in for the PS3, you still don't have HD, and then it's going to be a while. So
It's a more general point.
I missed that. He wanted to trade in his 360?
he's going to trade in his
Yeah,
360
for
for
PS3.
PS3.
That's a
So if he get
stupid
it,
idea.
so if he
Well,
gets an HD set.
Well, the thing is, he's just like me though. He wants to trade it in so he doesn't have to pay out of pocket. I'm guessing.
Yeah, he gets the
Right, or,
for it.
yeah,
I
he's
would-
going to have to pay a little.
You can't trade in a 360
I would tell
for
him to hold
HDTV.
on to both systems because both of them have great games coming out. You don't want to just trade up one for the other. I don't know.
Yeah, so Ryan's advice is to go get a job.
I don't think it looks bad.
That's not what I
Stop
said.
slacking.
That's
When I
what
go
he
home, I
said.
play a PS3 on regular TV. It doesn't look that bad.
Hey, Greg.
Yeah.
Jim Power says, give him 5 good reasons to go pick up a PSP. Go.
It's got Skype now, so you can use it like a cell phone instead of anything. It's got a bunch of good games. Jim Power, come on, get on board here. You can use it as an MP3 player. I don't even own an iPod, and I don't want an iPod. You can watch little movies on it, and you'll be able to rip Blu-rays from your PS3 onto your PS3.
He's going down.
And you can remote play stuff like Pixel Junk Monsters.
Fantastic. That was a great answer.
Nice. You were on top of that.
I know.
Yeah, that was very. I didn't know. I thought you would name 5 games, but
Oh.
that was a better
Cypher
answer.
Filter, Logan Shadow,
Yeah, there's one.
Patapon, Patapoon. I
Patapon.
screw up the name every time.
Yeah. Patapon.
But I
God of
do-
War Chains of Olympus?
Can't wait for that. God of War Chains of Olympus.
Yeah, a little.
Downstream Panic, I'm excited for.
That game's cool, man.
All right, there we go.
So far, I like
Is it? Oh, you
Yeah.
you like it?
No,
Cool.
yeah, it's fun. It's hard.
Cool. I had no idea what it was. Like it. Like,
Have you seen it at all?
No.
It's cool.
Cool.
Everybody listening to this, if you haven't seen Downstream Panic, you should go to the
Yeah,
site.
go watch our
and
videos.
Download some videos. It's pretty cool.
I like it.
Yeah. Johnny Blade says,
Especially first years.
Jeff, with MLB 08 stepping up to the plate in a couple of months, he was wondering if during your recent playthroughs, if you found that they addressed many of the problems you had with 07. And could you also compare it to 2K8?
The early alpha build that we have is a little buggy, but it has addressed a lot of the issues that I had with it. A lot of the fielding problems are gone. A lot more of the AI situations have been completely stomped out. The presentation is vastly better. It actually goes beyond what last year's game did.
That was awesome. You give yourself a beyond.
Hey, who else is going to give me props? But it goes much farther than 07's presentation did, which was really a basic port of the PS2 game, it really is shaping up to be what they wanted it to be last year, which is an excellent baseball experience. Compared to 2K8, 2K8 is going in a similar direction. A lot of theirs is based off of mechanics, like the pitching mechanic. They're actually putting in a situation where the way that you move the analog sticks simulates a throw, so simulates a curveball, a slider, other things like that. So you have to rotate the analog stick in that manner, which is a pretty creative mechanic. The biggest thing, though, in some way, is that it almost feels and looks like 2K7. So the visual presentation doesn't necessarily feel that much of a jump, but the gameplay mechanics feel like they definitely are improved on 2K.
Very good. And the last piece of reader mail that we get to today is from Wingfan191. Says, how do you guys play through bad games for your reviews? I know it's your job to be thorough and to try out every piece of game, but some games are just downright horrible and have me turning them off 20 minutes into playing. How do you maintain focus to get through crappy games in such short amounts of time? I will tell you that I love reviewing bad games, like terrible. The worst games to review are games that are just sort of bland and boring because you have nothing to say about them and they don't really do anything. Bad games that piss you off and get you frustrated can be really fun because so you don't want to play them, but the whole time that I'm playing these games, I'm like, here's how I'm going to tear it apart when I finally get to the review. I keep taking this checklist of like, here's all these things I have to make sure I mention, and as that checklist grows, I'm just like more and more confident in how bad I can represent the game in a review. Yeah, I mean it's all fairly, it's all the game's deserving of that hatred, but that's how I do it. Is I look forward to the review process. Because I think it's a lot of fun to review a really, really terrible game.
The sauce helps.
Yeah. A little wee snippet of whiskey in the morning.
But you also always have an idea as to whether or not a game is going to be good or not as you're getting into it. Because once you start getting into the meat of something, you can really pick up this game is going to be crap. And then part of it you already know, just like Chris said, like you already know exactly what's wrong, so you can rip it apart. The biggest thing is whether or not you're going to go full bore with both barrels, or if you're gonna save a little bit for another review.
I didn't understand what you just meant. All right,
wait, I do have a question though, Eric. When you are when you're working on something that's a really hard day, or you're just having a lot of problems, how do you get by through the day?
That's a good question.
How do you manage?
Good grief.
Because I know that development can be super stressful and whatnot. So.
Yeah. And I'm not a yeller. Yeller would help a lot. If I could.
It would help.
If I could go chew somebody out in the corner, that would help a lot. But I'm not that kind of guy. No, we often go walk around the complex, go grab something to eat, and just put out some steam that way. It depends though. Different guys though, they'll go out and they'll play frisbee out in the lawn. They'll go out and pick up hoops. There's a local. Gym nearby, and people they box, they do all kinds of things.
You guys have everything. We just have the soda machine in the other room that we get stuff from.
Got to do a lot of lifting on a soda.
So, Ryan, is there going to be editor beatdown this week? Please tell me there's going to be.
Yes, there will be.
All right, do it.
And the voice?
Absolutely. You have to do the voice.
You did this to yourself.
Yeah. I hate editor beatdown.
This week, you suckers asked for it, so you're gonna get it. We're playing Call of Duty 4 on Wednesday at 7:30. Be there.
Pacific Standard Time.
Pacific Standard Time.
Fantastic.
There'll be a blog post.
Check as always, check the boards sometimes. Well, yeah. Just drink a bunch of scalding water and screw up your throat, and then you'll sound like that naturally.
Chain smoke.
Yeah, chain smoke. I think that pretty much brings us to the end of the show. Before we get to the song, we want to thank Eric for coming in here.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric.
Excellent.
Have a great time.
Why don't you give us one last plug? Tell us when the game's coming out and what systems we're going to see it on and all that.
Also, tell us the story.
Oh, yeah. I almost fell for that. We're coming out in 2008. That's all I can say. We're coming. That's right. Fourth quarter, I think I can add. And we're also coming out on PS3, Xbox 360, and PC. The other things I can't talk about, but that's not where I'm spending my time. So, more to come.
Very good.
Excellent.
I think it's time for a song.
I want to sing a little song that kept me going when I had troubles. It's from Combat Wombat 2000. It's the B-52's Rock Lobster. We were recording Beyond. Ooh, Everybody had matching mics. Ryan went under a dock, and there he saw a rock. It wasn't a rock. It was a rock blog neck. Na 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 na. Rock blog neck. Na 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 na. Rock blog neck. Na 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 na. Here comes a Jeff Haynes. Meow. Meow. There goes a Chris Roper. Nice. Here comes a Greg Miller. I'm a big idiot. In walks Ryan Clements. Good signs. Rock blog neck.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in again.
What just happened?
What the hell was that?
I don't know. That's how we end every show. It's a crazy song. Eric, thanks again, and we'll see everybody next week. Peace out.
Rock block neck. Rock block neck.